car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Yes, indeed. The Frontier Motor Show here on News Talk 1370 WCOA, also known as Talk at 10. Thank you for joining us today. Your host, not me, Ivan Struckel, the owner of Frontier Motors, located at 230 Beverly Parkway. Got a question about a used car? Maybe a price of a car, truck, or SUV? Give us a call, 478-3116. Good morning, Ivan.
Hey, Don.
Struckel.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. And we are also videotaping this for our Blab TV customers, so I appreciate you tuning in. The next half an hour, like Don said, we're going to talk about cars, what's going on in the car industry, a little bit what's going on in the Pensacola area, and also what's going on at Frontier Motors. The first thing I want to let you know is that we do help people with the value of vehicles. And I know that you can get that on the internet. I've got it on right here. And when you go on the internet and Google used car values, they will give you an NEDA guidebook. They'll give you an Edmunds, and they also do the Kelley Blue Book. Now, the car dealerships and the bank, credit unions, insurance companies in the area use an official NEDA guidebook. This guidebook is not available on the internet, so it's a little bit different. Most of the values are within $500 to $1,000, so they do go a little bit. Customers always ask me, well, I got in the Kelley Blue Book. Why is it different than your book? I said, well, we're not trying to, sometimes it's higher and sometimes it's lower, so it doesn't always work in the dealership's favor. But the reason we use the NEDA guidebook is because that is what our bankers use to tell you what they will loan on a car. So that's a very important book to us. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the value of the car, and that's why we advertise at Frontier Motors that we will give you the real value. Well, how do we do that? Well, we use our data that's available to us that's not available to the general public. For example, the black wholesale guidebooks are not available to the general public. You've got to be a car dealership, a car dealer, or a insurance company to get those books. We also have the ability to go into the auction reports, which the Manheim auctions are the largest chain of auctions in the United States. There's over 100 Manheim auctions. We're lucky enough to have one right here in Pensacola on W Street. They run every Tuesday. They run about 400 to 600 cars on Tuesday. Orlando is within driving distance. We have a buyer that drives to Orlando. That auction also is on Tuesdays. Now, Orlando is the second largest Manheim auction in the nation, and they run between 5,000 and 6,000 cars on a Tuesday. So obviously, I'll send a buyer down there just because of the availability of vehicles that are available there. So we get all the data compiled. As soon as those cars run and get sold, the data goes into a database. I can pull it up so I can see what the average selling price of a particular vehicle is with certain equipment and certain color and a certain condition report. And so if I know what I can buy a vehicle for, even though the book might say, for example, that a car has a $20,000 retail, well, if I can buy that same car at the auction, I could pay the fees to get the car back to Pensacola, make a profit on that car, and sell it for somewhere between $17,000 and $18,000. So again, if the book says it's worth 20, you would be paying too much. And that's one of the reasons that we started this radio/TV show 21 years ago, is to let people know that there is a dealer in the Pensacola area that will help you when you're in the market for a car to make sure that you don't get ripped off. And I guess ripped off is a bad word to use because not every dealer is out there to rip you off, but you know what I'm talking about, just paying too much. I snicker sometimes when I get a call on the radio show asking me to tell them if they got a good deal or not. Really, folks, you need to call us before you sign the dotted line, before you put your money down. I don't want to make you feel bad by telling you that you overpaid if you paid $20,000 for a $17,000 car. But these are things that we try to make sure that we help you with when you're in the market. Now, you might not be in the market right now, so you're listening to the show or watching it, thinking, well, I don't need a car. So instead of changing the channel, what if you get in a car accident? What if your car stops working tomorrow morning? The transmission falls out of the car, or maybe something major goes wrong with it. And when the average age of a car in the United States on the road right now is 11.2 years, that's a pretty old car. I remember when I got in the car business back in 1995, the average age of a car on the road was 7 years. Now it's 11 years. Now, there's a couple of reasons. One reason is I think they make the cars better. They last longer. I remember when, if you put 100,000 miles on a car, that was a lot of miles, and it was time to get rid of that car because you had all kinds of issues, oil leaks, transmission problems. That's not true anymore. Consumer Reports actually 2 months ago printed a list of cars that will run over 200,000 miles without any issues. So the cars are lasting longer, and they are built better. They get better gas mileage, and there's less maintenance on the cars. You don't have, remember when you used to do a tune-up, Don? You remember the old tune-up days.
Absolutely and
Yeah.
positively. It was a routine thing.
And now, Don, they don't have the rotors. They don't have the distributors. The spark plugs last 100,000 miles on some cars before you have to replace them. So it's a lot easier and a lot less money to maintain a car now. Consumer Reports also says, by the way, that the average depreciation on a brand new car, well, before I tell you, let me have my buddy Dave Ramsey tell you. He can do it better than me, and he can do it in 60 seconds.
Hey, Dave Ramsey here. Whether you're on baby step 1 or baby step 7, my advice when it comes to buying a car has been the same. Don't buy new. Consumer Reports last year put into writing that a new car depreciates 27% in the first 12 months. On an average price $34,000 new car, that's roughly a $9,200 loss in the first year alone. Here's what you should do instead. Go see my friends at Frontier Motors. They specialize in great used cars that still look and smell like new. Frontier Motors offers over 400 of these vehicles in stock in one location. What sets these guys apart from a regular car dealership is that they make the hated process of buying a car a stress-free experience. They're one of the few dealers that will give you a bottom line out-the-door price in writing. It's not very easy finding an honest car dealer, but I know you'll be treated right when you shop at Frontier Motors. Tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Yeah, he does a real good job talking about the depreciation, and I really am happy that Consumer Report finally put it in writing. I've been doing this radio show, like I said earlier, for going on 21 years now. We've been talking about depreciation, talking. Why not buy a car that's 5 months old, 6 months old, maybe a year old, and see how much you can save? And when they put it in the writing, I actually was kind of flabbergasted when I saw the article because I didn't think it was that much. I thought the average depreciation was about $7,000, and they're saying no. The average depreciation the first year is $9,180 in 1 year. The average selling price last year of a car was just about $35,000. That's after rebates and incentives. So that's not what the asking price was. That's the transaction price. So if you bought that car last year for $35,000, that car would be worth this year $24,800. And the second year, you lose $12,000 on the car. The third year, on that $35,000 car, you lose almost 50%. And after 4 years, it's 56%, a $19,000 drop in depreciation. That's why we're still in business, because people have been listening and watching this show saying, before I buy a new car, let's stop in at Frontier Motors and let's see how much I can save you. On some cars, I sold a Toyota Corolla about 4 months ago. I remember it only had very low miles on, like 100 miles on, and the savings was about $2,500 over a brand new one. But that customer that bought that car said, hey, wait a minute, this car's got 100 miles on it. It's the color I like. I'm still saving $2,500. It didn't depreciate that much because it was a Toyota, and they're not that expensive to begin with. Imagine, folks, if you buy a $100,000 car. Well, I'm lucky enough to be able to drive a $100,000 car because I have a dealership and I can drive whatever I want. So I was lucky enough to get me one of those new Lexus LC500s. And Don,
Right.
if you don't know that, if you got a chance to Google it, it's a pretty hot car. It's called an LC500. It's a new Lexus, a sports car they just came out with. And the window sticker of the car that I have is $105,000. And we'll use that example. The car's got 7,000 miles on it. I have it on the internet for $89,900. So that, to me, is like a $15,000 loss.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not 27% because it's a Lexus, and it's a new car they just came out with. So this particular car, 1 year later, did not drop $27,000. But I'll tell you what, I had a Corvette the month before, Don. We were talking about a Z06 Corvette, and that car dropped $27,000 in 1 year because they slowed down selling. the Lexus is a pretty hot item, so even though it depreciates, it doesn't depreciate what the average car did. But a BMW, for example, I had a $100,000 BMW about 3 months ago that I was driving, and we put it on the radio show. I was talking about that car dropped almost $30,000 in 1 year.
Wow.
And last month, we were talking about Maserati. I saw it at the auction.
Mm-hmm.
It was a brand new 2017 Maserati, had 23 miles on it. They had the window sticker attached to the car,
Right.
which was $127,000. And I could have bought it for $70,000. They had a buy it now price. I could have just clicked on it. I didn't have to be at the auction. It was rated a 5 out of 5. And the selling price was $77,000. That's a $50,000 depreciation. I feel sorry for the person that bought that car and changed their mind. What probably happened was, I think a dealer had an inventory and they ended up depreciating the car, writing it off their books, and just taking the auction.
Right.
But it's very interesting how cars do depreciate at different ways, and different cars depreciate different dollar amounts. Now, another little tidbit of information that a lot of people don't know. About 5 years ago, the number one resale value car in the USA was a Lexus. Last year, the number one vehicle for resale value was a Wrangler.
No kidding.
Wranglers had the best resale value of any vehicle sold in America last year. And what that means, when you buy a used Wrangler, you still save money over new, but it's not $9,200. Now, it wouldn't be $9,200 anyways. I had somebody come in about 2 months ago when I started doing this, when I got my magazine last year, Don. This came out last April, not this April,
Right.
but last April. And I got my magazine, so I started talking about that. The cars depreciate $9,200. So the guy walks into Frontier Motors and says, okay, I want to buy that car $9,200 less than new. I said, well, it's not going to happen. Well, that's what you keep saying. I said, that's what I keep saying in the advertising. That's not what I'm going to sell it for. How am I going to stay in business? If I buy a car for $9,200 less than a new one, I've got to make money on it. And I always use the analogy that, what if I mark it up $3,000, which would be a pretty good profit in my mind?
Sure.
You'd still save $6,200. If I mark it up only $2,000, you're still saving $7,200. So I'm making money, and you're saving a bunch of money, and you're getting a car that's like new, clean history report, non-smoker, and warranty in effect. If the car is 6 months old, for example, if it's got a 5-year warranty, you're still going to get 4.5-year warranty on that car. And the cars, let me show you or talk about some of the cars I have in inventory. These don't have to be used cars with 30 or 40 or 50,000 miles on it. I've got a Nissan NV200. If you don't know what that is, that's the new small Nissan cargo van. So if you're a business listening to this, it's got 120 miles on it. It's going to save you thousands of dollars over a brand new one. I've got a 2017 Ford Explorer on the lot. This car is flat towable on the ground. So for those of you that have purchased a motorhome and you don't want to do the hassle of a dolly, this car is flat towable. It's got the brackets already on it. It has 327 miles on it. I'm sure what happened is somebody was going to go motorhoming and they maybe had an illness, or maybe they just thought that this isn't working out. They probably bought a 40-foot bus, and I've had a lot of people do that. They buy a big motorhome bus and they get behind the wheel and they're pulling another 20-foot vehicle,
Right.
so now they're at the 65 feet long on the expressway, and they take their first trip and they say, "This is not for me.
Nope.
This is not for me," because there is no room for error when you're driving one of those buses. We have an Altima on the lot with 300 miles on it, a Sequoia with 800 miles on it, a Malibu with 1,000 miles on it. We've got an Equinox. I can go on and on talking about cars that we have that are very like a new, that have very, very low miles on it. Now, we are the alternative to new. So when you're thinking about buying a brand new car, think Frontier Motors before you sign. But because we have so many cars that are like new, over 200 cars, we have about 400 cars in inventory. 200 of those are like new, but the rest of them are cars that we have taken in trade or purchased that are inexpensive relative to a new car. The average new car was $35,000, so the average used car price is going to be around $24,000 to $30,000 in there somewhere. But we've got a lot of cars on the lot that have under $10,000 because we've taken them in trade. I would love to use this time to advertise that we buy cars from private individuals, whether you buy a car from us or not. Now, I know that a lot of dealerships do this because I see the billboards. The problem with that is a lot of times the buyer is not at the dealership. So you go in there, you're frustrated because you want to get a price quote, and the guy's not around because he's out buying cars. We employ 5 buyers at Frontier Motors. If 2 of them are off, we always minimally have 3 buyers on the lot at all times. So you can drive in, we scan the ID number, we use our smartphone, we scan the ID number, got a barcode on it, believe it or not. Every car has a barcode. It auto-populates into my system. It runs the Carfax report immediately and the AutoCheck, which are the 2 largest providers of history reports in the nation. We automatically run that to get a background of the vehicle. If it's been an accident, where did it come from? How was it oil change on a regular basis? If you change oil, believe it or not, it goes into that database now. Even Jiffy Lube, Bobby Likas, any car dealerships, oil changes are going to go on the database. So you don't have to, in the old days, and Don, I don't know if you ever did this, but maybe your daddy did. The old days, you used to write down every time you did something to your car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, my father kept a meticulous log. Every fill-up, every servicing, you name it, it was there. Trips.
My dad did the same thing. Yep. And he
had dozens of those things over
especially
the years.
when they did the average gas mileage.
Right.
He would get mad if the gas mileage went down a little bit, and he'd check his spark plugs and he'd check his timing and all that stuff.
Yeah, did it all manually.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's done for you on your dashboard usually.
Yeah. So now we have the history reports that keep track of that for us. So I don't need to worry about those books anymore, and it saves you a lot of time. So it really makes it very, very easy for me to give you that buy bid within 15 minutes. That's a pretty fast buy bid. We drive around the block, we scan the ID number, we put the equipment in the system, we tell you, okay, we'll write you a check today for $12,500. What do you say? And if you say, well, I'm more looking like around $13,500, well, if I can't give you $13,500, I can put the car on consignment for $13,500. The reason I give you more money on consignment is because I don't have to tie up my cash. So I have your car sitting on the lot for $13,500. I've still got my $12,500. I can buy another car. Now I've got 2 cars on the lot. We just don't price that car very high. I make less money on the consignment cars because they both are going to sell for the same price, whether it's my car or somebody else's car. If the vehicle's got a value of 14 on the retail market, then that's what I'm going to sell the car for, no matter who owns it. So we do a really good consignment business because we don't charge a fee. Some dealerships charge $200 to $300 a month to put your car on consignment. Well, that's really stupid. Why would they want to sell the car? If they have there for 12 months, they're going to make $3,600 on you. So they don't do that. Don't bring it to those cars. And we don't charge a commission. Some dealers say, okay, I'll take 10% of whatever it sells for. Well, we don't do that. We establish a price that you're going to net when I sell the car. Anything over that price is ours. So we do a very good consignment business, but we also do a really good purchasing business. I buy between 5 to 15 cars every week from private individuals. This is cars that are 4 years old. I'm not talking about brand new cars. I'm talking about if you're in the market to buy a car, what car should you buy? If you're looking for a luxury midsize car, the Lexus ES350. We do a really good Lexus business. We normally have about 5 or 6 ES3, the ES models in stock because they're very good selling cars. And according to Consumers Reports, the people said that was the best car to purchase at 4 years old. I think it's a good buy no matter what year you buy. And we have a 2016 and a couple of 15s in stock right now. The best sports car was a Porsche Cayman. Don't sell a lot of Caymans around here for some reason. Don't know why. That's their little sports car. The best minivan was a Toyota Sienna. The best small SUV was a Nissan Juke. What a stupid name for a car. Juke. Sounds like jerk almost. Anyways, they never asked me about names. If they did, everything would be switched. I like the old type of names.
Yeah, stick
Don,
with,
Ford
Impalas,
and Chevrolet got it. A Camaro. Everybody knows what a Corvette is, right?
Right.
And do you know what
And
an
a Camaro.
XT5 is?
Yeah.
What's an
No,
XT5?
I have no idea.
How about XT3?
Sorry.
I don't either.
No.
Those are Cadillacs.
But I know what a Durango is.
Why don't they ask me?
Yeah.
Midsize SUV, Toyota 4Runner. Large SUV. I told you I had that Sequoia on the lot. A new car, most reliable, brand new, was a Toyota Sequoia. And 4 years old, the most reliable and best car was a Toyota Sequoia. And 8 years old, it was a Toyota Sequoia. And 12 years old, it was a Toyota Sequoia. They don't always have the same ones. But if you're going to get a large SUV, the Toyota Sequoia would be the one to get. And I think I've got a couple of them on the lot right now. We have an Audi Q3 is the best new luxury SUV. And once it's used, the Lexus takes the top honors because the Lexus is a little bit more reliable than the Audi is. but Audi's coming on. Audi used to be a problem car, and there's a couple of models that used to be problem car: Jaguars, Audi, BMW, um, Volvo. The new ones, though, are quite a bit better. And so when somebody asks me my opinion, because we're a used car dealership, the nice thing about Frontier Motors is we can sell every make and model. It's almost like going to a car show. So when you come in and you're saying, well, I'm not really sure if I want a luxury SUV, but you don't know what you want. And if you're gonna buy a luxury SUV, you'd probably have to drive over to Mobile because now we do have BMW here and Volvo, but what about Infiniti? What about Jaguar? What about Lexus? You got to go to Mobile to buy those vehicles. Now, fortunately, we have the new Audi dealership here, so at least you won't have to drive to Mobile to look at an Audi. But at Frontier Motors, we have them all lined up. We have the Audi, the BMW, the Jaguar, the Infiniti. We have them all lined up. So you go to one dealer, and these are relatively new cars. I'm talking about 2015, 16, 17, and even 18 models in stock. So it's not like you're looking at a used vehicle. If you're thinking, well, I'm going to buy a 17 or 18, well, matter of fact, I'm going to click on my year because I've got my inventory pulled up right now. And when I click on the year, it'll tell me how many vehicles. It tells me the oldest vehicle first is a 2000 Volkswagen Beetle. But here, a 2018 Camry, a 2018 RAV4, 2018 Malibu. This is inventory in stock right now at Frontier Motors. 2018 Santa Fe, a 2018 Kia Sportage, a Ford Escape, and 2018 Grand Cherokee. The new 2018 Genesis, which, by the way, the number one car sold last year, according to Consumer Reports, as far as overall, the best car on the sold in the USA was a Genesis last year. Where's my sheet? I lost it. So I got one with 2,000 miles on it that's going to save you about $10,000 over price of brand new. And we talked about the 2018 Lexus LC that I have on a lot. That car is absolutely gorgeous. That's their sports car, their kind of hot rod car. A Sonata, a Highlander, an Accent, the Volkswagen Tiguan, an Altima. The list goes on and on. So again, if you're looking to buy a brand new car, stop at Frontier Motors. You don't have to go to 5 different dealerships to look at 5 different cars. And we don't have to sell you into a car. When you go to these dealerships, what happens? What is that salesman trained for? He's trained into buying his car today and to convince you that he's got the best car out there. We don't have to do that. Number one, we let you buy when you're ready. It's a non-hassle approach to selling cars. We're going to give you the price. We're going to give you the trade value. We're going to give you an out-the-door figure, and we're going to tell you, hey, if you're not sure, go think about it. We have to be very, very careful with our pricing when we price a car to make sure that we're going to have the best deal for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be the lowest price. The best deal means that we have the vehicle with the most equipment, in the best color, with the lowest mileage, in the best condition. And if we put all that together, we don't necessarily have to be the least expensive one. It just has to be the best car for the money. And we've been doing that at Frontier Motors. We started 21 years ago with 35 cars. We have almost 400 cars in inventory. Sometimes we go over 400. Sometimes we dip down a little bit. And the reason we have this many cars is because we sell between 200 and 250 cars a month. That's a lot of cars that rotate. That's about 60 to 70 cars every single week that we're getting new. So when I talk about these cars, you can come on the lot in a week from now, half these cars are going to be sold and new ones are going to be on the way. And that's why I advertise, again, as I did about 15 minutes ago, that we would love to buy your car. I would rather get a car right here in Pensacola because you bring it to me. It makes it so much easier. I don't have to pay the shipping. I can pay you a little bit more because you're doing all the work. You're bringing it to me. I can appraise the vehicle. I can give you more than wholesale because I don't have to pay the auction fee. The auction charge is somewhere between $400 and $500 just to sell a car. Then I have to employ a buyer to buy the car for me because I don't go there myself. I have somebody that does that. They get $300. And I don't trust buying online. A lot of dealerships in Pensacola buy their cars online because they don't want to pay the buyer. And the reason they do that is because they think, well, they can just click on it because they have cameras in the auction lane that show you what the car looks like. They already have pictures online of that car, usually about 10 different pictures. They have a condition report, but I'll pay my buyer because I want him to smell the car. You can't smell it over the internet.
Nope.
And you lose sales all the time when you have a car that smells. And it's not just smoker smell. There's all kinds of obnoxious smells that can permeate a car's interior that you can't get out. So I employ my buyers and make sure they're non-smokers and that they got a good nose so that when that car hits my lot, it better not smell or they're going to be out of a job. And we're very successful doing that because I have had customers come back to me and said, well, I was down the road and that car down the road was a pretty good price. I said, well, then why didn't you buy it? And I even like the color better of that one than yours. I said, well, why are you here? Because yours doesn't smell. and that makes a difference to us. So very, very careful when we put that car on the lot that it's a non-smelling car, so to speak, because that's very important. And when you have such a huge inventory, we'll have multiple cars. For example, the Lexus, I've got them in 5 different colors. An RX 350 Lexus, I've got 5 of them in stock. I have them in all different colors. So if somebody comes in and says, well, I don't really want a red one, I'd rather have a white one. Well, I've got a white one, I've got a silver one, a black one, a burgundy one, and a gold one. So you've got multiple cars to choose from, and our salesman is not going to be pushy to get you to make a decision. There's a reason that the average age of a car on the road is 11.2 years. It's not because people don't have the money to buy a car. And it's not so much because they don't want a car. They hate the car buying process. I'm getting this from my customers telling me this. I said, why don't you come back in here? You could buy a car every 5 years for the same dollar amount that you pay every 10 years. And you say, how does that work? Well, if you've got a 10-year-old car with 150,000 miles on, which is the average miles right now, what's that car worth? Maybe $1,000? It's not worth a lot. You pretty much have almost run it into the ground as far as value is concerned. Well, if you come to me with a 5-year-old car with 50,000 miles on, it might still be worth $20,000. Now you come to the dealership, the average selling price of a new car is $35,000. Your car is almost worthless. Now your bill is $35,000 plus tax when you could have perhaps came in 5 years ago and only spent $17,000 plus tax. So sometimes it doesn't make sense to keep your car that long. Why not trade it when it still has a good value? I'm being told that we've only got a couple of minutes left, folks, so check out our website. We've got 31 detailed photographs of all of our cars. Our cars all have prices on the website, and there's also a link where you can go over to YouTube. I'm videotaping this show. It'll be on YouTube, so just go to YouTube and put Frontier Motors in. So if you want to watch the show, you can, or maybe send it to friends. Also, we've got a great Facebook page. A lot of our cars are posted on Facebook, and a lot of the new cars that are out in the market, a new car, when something new comes out, like this Lexus I'm driving, it goes right on our Facebook page. But the main thing I want to get out there today, folks, other than the fact that we'd love to buy your car from you, don't put it on Craigslist, bring it to me, let me do all the work. The main thing I want to let everybody know out there is that we are the home for free advice. If you need a Carfax report, no charge at Frontier Motors, for $43 online, $40 plus tax. We do it at no charge. Plus, we'll also do the auto check for you. We tell you what to pay for a car. We tell you which car is a good car and a bad car. We tell you what your car should be worth, whether you market the car yourself, you let us sell it for you, you trade it in, or you go to another car dealership to trade it in. We should tell you what a new car's value is because we have the new car cost guides. So I have the invoice of any new car out there. I can tell you what the dealer paid, and that'll help you negotiate a better deal for yourself that you're not paying too much. I can tell you what the rebates are on the car. So again, free advice. If you get in a car accident, don't settle with your insurance company until you call Frontier Motors, and I'll tell you what they should be paying you. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.